2023 was a great year for the channel. We even had a trip to Japan this year, but today we're going to be talking about the 42 games that I played. We're going to have it separated into a couple different sections. First, we'll talk about the RPGs, then we'll move into the visual novels I played. I'm going to group a couple things together. We're going to have strategy, tactical, and dungeon crawler RPGs. We're going to talk about miscellaneous games that I played, and we're going to finish it off by talking about my top 3 favorite games of 2023 and what we can look forward to in 2024. Starting off, we're going to be talking about our RPGs, and first on the list is Learn Japanese RPG Hiragana. It is a brand new game that I recently got, and it is entirely about learning Hiragana. As you guys know, I took a trip to Japan, and one of the things that I really wanted to do was learn how to speak, how to read, how to write better. And this RPG has been absolutely a huge help for that, along with me taking these little Genki books that I got, some other things that I'm doing for learning. So I'm looking really forward to our next trip in Osaka coming in 2024 in October. And this game has been a big help. I think it's a ton of fun. It's definitely a game that people should be checking out if you do want to learn the language, and primarily just if you want to learn the language. Next up, I played Eternights, which is a RPG game that was made by an independent developer, but had a lot of help from Sony and everything, and a lot of PR press behind it. I was really excited because it seemed like it was going to be really SMT and Persona-centric, and for the most part, it really was. I think that it was a very passionate dev, and they delivered a rough but excellent game overall. It's got waifus, it's got, like, you know, the Persona love trope stuff, and it's got some action fighting in it, which was really good. The atmosphere is fantastic, and it was definitely up there in a very memorable game of the year. Also, for the first time this year, I got to play some of the Trails games. I had Trails into Reverie and Trails to Azure, and this has actually been a kind of a new experience for me. I know there's a huge fan base for these games, and I had a ton of love for them. I also got a Japanese copy of Trails through Daybreak, which I may be covering on the page soon. I'll be using a translator as we play through it. It was absolutely beautiful, but these games were really cool experiences for me. I definitely needed a lot more time this year than I had to invest into this series, but it's something that I could see myself really liking, and going into 2024, I'm probably going to give them a lot more of a chance, hopefully having a little bit more free time to do so, because they're classic, and if you know them, you know them. I mean, and if you don't know them, you definitely shouldn't be sleeping on them. I did for way too long. We got to play a demo for a game called Dreamed Away. It's not necessarily a JRPG, but it's very similar to games like Amori or Deltarune even, and I really loved it. It was made by a French developer. The graphics were great. It had some really fun battle stuff that's, you know, similar to the other 2 games that I mentioned before, and there was a lot of love behind that game. There's obviously some passion behind it, great story, great art, and I'm really excited to see the full game when it comes out. It's not out yet, so we did just do a demo run. Akiba's Trip Director's Cut also came out. I originally played the game a little bit, not all the way through, for the PSP, and so I got a copy for the Switch, and I was pretty excited to play it. If you're not familiar with this game, it is kind of an action RPG. It is very weeby. It is very waifu-centric and very ecchi. The game is about, you know, fighting, and the fighting all has to do with beating people up till you can rip different parts of their clothes off, making them flee away naked into the terrifying wilderness of the city of Akihabara. I really enjoy the humor in the game. It's got a really fun story, and the director's cut, I believe, had a different ending that you could have, like a special ending for it. It was a pretty cool game. Again, I didn't have a lot of time to play it this year, but it is something that I am looking forward to finishing and kind of mastering out. A game I had no idea about that a dev gave me was called Mato Anomolies. There's a lot of people who have played this RPG. It is kind of indie feeling, and it's pretty rough around the edges, but I think that there's a lot to enjoy about it. It's one of those games that has a really great atmosphere, and they kind of put you in a world that's kind of old school mixed with new school, if you could imagine, kind of a Blade Runner type situation in a way. To me, it had like a lot of feelings of SMT, and I really enjoyed the artwork for this one. It was a really cool game. Again, I think the overall reviews weren't super hot on it, but I did enjoy my experience with it, and think it's a pretty fun game if you like niche JRPGs. So a game that I didn't get to cover on the page yet, I actually found out yesterday that I have a video in work for it that I never finished. The Rhapsody Marl Kingdom Chronicles came out, and this was a huge deal for me because it's the sequel to the original Marl Kingdom game, Rhapsody. So it has Rhapsody 2, and then it has the third Rhapsody game, which is kind of really interesting. I actually never beat the third game, but it has like a bunch of these stories that you play through, and it was really interesting, and I'm glad that it came to the States, because we have not had this outside of fan translations, I believe, and I was never able to play it before. So it was really exciting, and if you do like the cutesy, kid, easy RPG kind of fun games to be wholesome, the Rhapsody Marl Kingdom Chronicles was a really great one. One of my favorite games of all time got probably one of the best remasters ever this year. It was Star Ocean 2. And I can't say enough good things about this game. I got it when I was in Japan. I had to buy it digitally because I couldn't find a physical copy. It was literally sold out everywhere. And even though we were on a trip to Japan, I could not keep my hands off my Switch. I just had to play this dang game. And it is really, really good. They did so much fun stuff. And one of the things that I really love about this RPG is you can just break it. I mean, there is systems in place that allow you to trash this game to pieces and turn your characters into just utter monsters that just destroy everything. And it just, I don't know, it felt like playing an RPG on God mode, and I haven't done that fully in quite a while, and it made the experience really fun for me. Obviously, you don't have to do that, and there's just a ton of stuff. There's a lot of different systems in the game. If you are a collector, or you like to get achievements or unlock everything, you will just have almost endless hours with this. It was absolutely beautiful. The artwork was beautiful. It's literally probably one of the best remakes I have played in ever maybe. Another game that really caught me by surprise was Like a Dragon Gaiden, and you guys know I'm a fan of the Yakuza games. I actually have never covered them on the page, and I never played Like a Dragon Gaiden on the page either, but it's just a, fighting game, a RPG, and it's in Japan. This one is mostly set in Osaka, and it is just off the top fun. I wasn't thinking I was going to like it nearly as much as I did. I heard that it was kind of, well, it has a really great story. I'll just say that. I'm not going to spoil anything, but an old major character comes back, and it is just a raucous adventure. I wasn't sure at first because you feel kind of like a secret agent, and I wasn't really sure how I felt about that at the beginning, but things change, and it becomes very much a core Yakuza style game, and it's back to the action fighting, which if you guys have been playing the Like a Dragon main series, you know that they moved over to turn-based. This one goes back to how it was, and it's great. It's great. And one of the things that's caught me so much by surprise has been this really robust system of mini games that you can do outside of it. And the Yakuza games are known for that. There's crane games and all sorts of fun stuff like that, but I literally have probably spent most of my time doing the mini RC car racing, and the Coliseum fights are just so addictive, and I just never got tired of the game. It's never tiring. It's just a lot of fun all the way throughout. A lot of people complained it was too short. I still got a crazy amount of hours into it and had so much fun. It was definitely worth the price. Speaking of Like a Dragon Ishin also came out, which was kind of like a remaster of a spin-off game that we never got in the States. This one's set in kind of like old school Japan days, and you're the samurai, and it was kind of fun. They had a system where you have guns, and you have your samurai sword, and the fighting was very unique in that way, and the setting was very unique, and it was kind of an interesting twist on everything. Again, this one had a lot of great mini games, and I really, really enjoyed it, especially the dang house. You get kind of like a house in the countryside, and you can grow crops, and you have a little lady that lives at your house that you can kind of try to like make happy, and you can cook food and care for animals, and it swamped all my time. But it's just, it's a crazy RPG. All of the Like a Dragon and Yakuza games are, and I had a lot of fun with them this year. Games that I don't normally play, I did get into a mobile game in 2023. Honkai Star Rail released, and I have not been addicted to a game like this in quite some time. I will admit, the last couple months, like 4 months now, I have not been playing it. I did move away from playing it, but I was really, really into Honkai Star Rail this year. I had a lot of fun with it. The graphics and the settings and stuff was really beautiful. I enjoyed the mechanics, and it did not feel to play to win for me at all. I was getting really good pulls, and I was having really fun with my pulls, which you can see here on the screen. And it was just an overall really, really good time, and a really great story. Surprisingly good story for me. I liked it so much more than Genshin Impact, but like Genshin Impact, it just kind of faded for me at some point, and it's hard for me to sit and like slave myself to a game where I have to log in every single day. And so I fell out of it, and that's what happened. But I do think it's a great game, and if you guys haven't checked it out, it's free to play. You can check it out, and you don't need to pay money for it at all. It actually plays really well without paying any money, and I'm sure whales are supporting it. So really cool, and check it out. I did not cover this game, and I'm hoping to very soon, but I got this really interesting game called Monochrome Mobius. And it is an RPG, and unfortunately, the reason why I didn't play it that much was my copy was for the PS4. So the PS4 and the PS5, and I never play my PS4. It's really hard for me to play it. It is a very, very interesting game. It had some really interesting combat, and the graphics are they're beautiful. And the story was enticing pretty much from the beginning. I have heard it's part of a larger series, one that I've never heard of and never played. But I think that I would like to in 2024 to get into Monochrome Mobius a little bit, check it out a little bit deeper, and see kind of everything that it has to offer. I think it was David Vink did a video saying that it's like modern day Grandia. So that is definitely a high point, if that is the case. And the last game on our RPG list is the Caligula Effect, or Caligula Effect. I've never known how to say it. 2. So I never played the first one, which was kind of weird, but NAS gave me a copy, and it looked great. Again, it was enticing to me because it kind of looked like Persona in a way, and when I played it, it was a lot like Persona. I did get quite a few hours into it. I didn't make any recordings, and I didn't make a video. That will probably be coming in sometime in 2024. I wasn't overly excited to cover anything about it, but it was a pretty interesting RPG, and stylistically, it's interesting, and the characters were also pretty interesting as well. I'm using the word interesting a lot, but that's basically the best way that I can think of to describe this game. It's unique, but not too unique. I think it borrows a lot from other things, but a very, very interesting experience. Our next category is visual novels, and to a certain degree, some people may not agree with some of the things that I put in this list. I feel like primarily these games are visual novel heavy, and so I've included them on this list. They are not traditional in the way that it's just all text only and there's almost nothing else that you do but read. But in my opinion, they are very centric to it. The first one, and I know it's an action RPG, is the game that I just recently covered, Crymachina. Now, Crymachina is an action RPG, like I said, but from what I played, the levels are very short, and in order to get to the next levels, you have to go through a pretty significant level of visual novel. And so I would consider it to be a visual novel, and I would also consider it to be very story-centric, which I said in my review, if you guys want to check that out. It is just about a very weird world that's very kind of Matrix-y or almost Soma-y, and a huge part of the game is just women talking with women. And if you love woman talk about sci-fi and weird AI and human brain manipulation stuff, this probably is going to be right up your alley. Even if you don't like combat and action RPGs aren't your thing, you can literally turn it to easy mode like I did and just coast. It is very coastable, button mashy, quick through the fights, and then you're back to your visual novel stuff again. There's an upgrade system and all that other stuff, but I mean, this is very visual novel. Another game that kind of blurs the lines, but I do think definitely fits within visual novel aspect is Master Detective Archives Rain Code. You guys have been following the page over 2023. You did see that I significantly streamed this game. I did not finish it, and I want to know if you guys want to see me finish it. But this is a very visual novel-y game. It is made by the creator of Danganronpa, which, as you know, is a visual novel game. And it was a really, really great game from what I played. It's pretty hard to stream because I played the entire game streaming and none of it off stream. And it's just a lot of text, a lot of reading, but there is some, kind of world exploration stuff, and there's kind of an action dungeon that you play through too. So it gets broken up quite a bit. I still think it's very heavily in the VN world. It's dark, and it's a lot of things Danganronpa. It is not Danganronpa, it's its own thing, but it very much feels like the feeling of that game. That's the best way I can put it. And It's really cool. I really wish they put it on PC though, because I'd love to see it with better graphics and to play a little smoother, but it is a very good game, and if you have a Switch, I cannot recommend Master Detective Archives Raincoat enough. Another one I got was Loop 8. This was kind of a weirdly controversial game. I was very, very, very excited for it. The gameplay loop didn't exactly do it for me though. This is one of those games that you love or you hate, and people on the internet are very open about their love or their hate for it. It's kind of like the world's ending kind of a thing, and you literally loop over and over again. You repeat your days, you repeat things that you do, you repeat actions that you take, and you try to learn, like Groundhog's Day, from what you learned before to do better the next day. And, you know, there's some fighting in it. It is very minimal. Most of it is just running around and talking to people and learning and kind of building up your skills and stuff as you play through. Unfortunately, I didn't beat this one, so I wish I could say more about it. I do need to try to pick it up again. I was interested in it. I didn't hate it, like a lot of people did. It was just hard to continue kind of slogging through it because it felt a little sloggy. Volcano Princess is another game that I played that was actually probably one of the weirdest games I played this year. It's nothing like anything I've played before, and it made me realize there's an entire genre that I've never heard about, which is kind of like a fatherly simulator. This one, you play as a father who's raising a little princess, and you have to kind of dictate her day. I don't entirely know if this fits 100% as a visual novel, but there is a lot of talking, and it's just a very simulator life heavy game. I found it to be really cute, and it wasn't anything that I would ever expect to like, and I got kind of addicted to it. It had some really great mechanics, and watching just this little girl grow up, it was very wholesome, kind of fun experience that I really enjoyed. Doomsday Paradise was kind of quasi-anime. The characters are very anime-like, but this is a party game. It's kind of like if you could imagine Mario Party mixed with a visual novel. The world's gonna end, and you have to go through these wild scenarios, and there's a million of them. They're very fantastically written. I did get a copy of this game from the dev, so I'll just put that out there at first, but I did actually even go and buy a copy on their Patreon when they had a Patreon page. You guys can check out the game now if you like really silly and crazy stuff. I did find it fun solo playing it, but when I played it with my friend Ryzen, it was just so much more fun. It was so much more fun. If you have friends to play this with, you will just find these crazy encounters and these crazy different, you know, choices that you have to make, and the outcomes are almost never what you expect. It's very good. It's very good. It's very fun, and I would definitely suggest anybody check this game out. Process of Elimination, I think, is pretty easy to put in the visual novel category. This is kind of a mystery detective kind of a game. You end up being this kid that joins this super secret detective group, but ends up stranded on this island with a killer that is taking everybody out, and you have to find out who they are. It's split into different portions. Some are visual novel, and some are kind of these detective chess games, kind of. It's very strategical that you have to play through to survive. I did find the story to be really interesting. The artwork was absolutely fantastic. One of my favorite art styles, definitely for the year. And yeah, I suggest this one a lot. It's great. Check it out. Our next category here is the mixture of strategy, tactical, and dungeon crawler RPGs. The first one that I have to talk about on the list is Disgaea 7. God, it's so good! If you haven't played Disgaea 7, play it. If you like the Disgaea games, you have to play it. It's so good. It brought my invigoration back for this series. I have a lot of videos, and I have some live streams that I did, and we did some tips and tricks with some friends, buddies that are playing it, and it was good. It was good. So good. I beat it. I got into post-game. I got so addicted to post-game. I was doing the online fight stuff that they have, and God, I really, 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 really like it. I couldn't say enough about it, and you guys have to check out my videos for it, because it was a great game. It had a really fun story, incredible characters. It kind of felt like it returned to form in a ton of different ways. It wasn't perfect, but it was a really, really great and solid game. And if you quit because of what 6 was, you gotta give 7 a chance. Please just give it a chance, because it's definitely worth it. At the beginning of the year, we played Fire Emblem Engage. Now, I haven't really liked Fire Emblem games for a very, very long time. I think the last one that I really, truly enjoyed was for like the Game Boy Advance or something like that. Maybe the DS. I tried some other ones on the Switch, you know, the year before that, and I just couldn't really get into them. But Fire Emblem Engage really connected with me. I loved the artwork, the graphics, the story was a lot of fun, and the battles were really great. I'm not great at these kind of games, and I was still able to make it through them. And I thought that that was a really cool thing. The difficulty is definitely set well, and you can turn it on hardcore mode too. There's a lot of people I know that are just badass players, and they're way smarter than me. And so they played it on hard mode and got their enjoyment out of it that way too. But highly suggest it if you haven't checked it out. I think pretty much everyone did. Grim Grimoire once more. I actually missed out on the original PS2 release for this. This one was remastered and came out for the Switch. Beautiful graphics. Vanillaware is a company that you literally can never... They never do wrong. I don't think that they ever do wrong. The unfortunate part was Grim Grimoire once more was very strategy heavy, and it was almost like StarCraft, if you could imagine StarCraft as a side scroller game. And I suck horribly at those games, and so I struggled through this one a lot. I didn't get super far into it, but it is a beautiful game and a lot of people love it. And if you played the original, you're definitely just going to be super happy with this one. Monster Menu: The Scavenger's Cookbook was a very unique game that I played this year. It's a little bit of a roguelike game and has some strategy elements built into it as well. You kind of play as a character that gets stuck in a cavern system like most of these games, and you have to go through and explore and kill monsters and get food and level up your characters and make your party more powerful to continue through. At first, I wasn't really sure what I thought about it, but once you get out of like kind of the first dungeon area and you move into the places that have like the trees and the nice stuff, it actually becomes a pretty fun game. The cooking stuff has been a ton of fun too. I thought it was kind of an interesting thing to add in and kind of have a focus on. Overall, the game just kind of felt pretty middling to me though. I think if you like games like this, you'll probably love it. And if you don't like games like this, you'll probably not love it. And if you're a person like me, you'll just kind of find that it's in the middle, and you may not finish it. The last two on our list are dungeon crawler RPGs. I didn't get to play that many this year. I usually try to play quite a bit. I know a lot of you guys really like your dungeon crawlers. Labyrinth of Zangetsu was the first one. It was pretty dang hard. It was a hard game. But what I really, really liked about this one is the kind of painterly art style to it was absolutely fantastic. It was beautiful. It was a lot of fun. There's a lot of cool kind of enemies and stuff that you have and skills. It's a very harrowing story. So if you like dark, kind of dystopian stories about, you know, people trying to survive against all odds, this one is for you. The other one was Labyrinth of Galeria, the Moon Society. This was an absolutely peachy game. I love this game a lot. I really, really need to beat it. And I've actually still have people commenting, asking me if I've gotten farther into it and beat it. 2024 is probably going to be the year that I go back and revisit that one. It is a dungeon crawler game about a girl who goes into this magical mirror and goes into this crazy place to try to find ingredients for this place. But the main character is really, really funny. I thoroughly enjoyed her. She's kind of a ditzy idiot in a way, but it's a very interesting story. The artwork is incredible, like in every single way. This is just a visually beautiful game, especially if you like bright, vibrant colors and really strong anime themes. It is right up your alley. It's a pretty dungeon crawler like. I mean, it's what you'd expect from a dungeon crawler, but it's not super hard, and you can just kind of grind through it and really have fun and build your characters up to keep tackling the challenges. And there's a lot to see, a lot to get, a lot of secrets hidden in the maps and stuff. It was just a really fun adventure overall. The last category, which is kind of a garbage bin, is our miscellaneous genres. So first off, we have Pretty Girls Klondike Solitaire. You guys saw this video, which you probably didn't because no one watched it. I made this absolutely insane video that was kind of like an old school, you know, a TV advert gone stupid YouTuber. And it was really fun. There's not a whole lot to say about the game, though. You have pretty girls, they're waifus, and you have solitaire. So if you like Klondike Solitaire, and you don't want a whole bunch of depth in the game system, and you don't mind hints everywhere and stuff, and you like waifus and dressing waifus, well, this game's probably for you. Stonks 9800 was another kind of waifu-centric one. This one was also very interesting, and it was a game that's all about like stocks in like the 1980s. It's got this kind of old school vibe to it, and I remember I sat down to record it, and I said, all right, I'm just going to record a little bit of this and a little bit of that and doing it, and I ended up like literally recording like 2 hours of footage, 3 hours of footage, and I realized, oh my God, I'm addicted to stocks. Because at first I thought I was going to lose all my money, and then somehow I kind of recuperated it, and I made good deals, and I made bad deals, and it really kind of catches you on your feet. There's these little kind of people you can meet and talk with and everything, and it just, they give you tips. Sometimes their tips are good, sometimes their tips are bad. You invest everything into something, then try to sell it before you lose it all. It's actually... it's hard to explain the excitement of it, but there's a lot of excitement to get from the game. It was pretty fun, even if you don't think you'd like it. Stonks 9800. Homestead Arcana was another game that I played, and initially I really liked it, but looking back over the year, it was actually kind of a forgettable experience. You played as a little witch, and you made a little homestead out in this place, and it's a little story where you learn about the past of your family and stuff while you're playing it. Graphics were cute enough. It seemed a little, you know, indie and everything, and it was cute in a lot of ways. I think that there is people that probably got it and enjoyed it and played it all the way through. It just didn't really, I don't know, it just felt kind of samey to me. They had some mechanics in there where, you know, there's this bad kind of wasteland that you go into and it hurts you or whatever. You have to have protection from it while you're out in there and try to scavenge as much as you can. And you kind of like a roguelike, you go in and go out and go in and go out and collect what you can, be more powerful for the next time. But it just didn't, I don't know, it just wasn't that big of a deal for me. I did kind of just forget about it. Might be something worth revisiting, but I don't know that I will. Another game that was kind of a big disappointment to me was Alice Gear Aegis CS Concerto of Simulatrix. It had a really cool kind of sci-fi anime vibe to it and a lot of cool waifus, and I was really excited to kind of play this mech fighter game that has a lot of customization and really cool characters and really fun kind of 3D arena fighting. It got old really fast. The single player part of it wasn't very enticing to me. It just seemed like kind of the same thing over and over again without anything really massive behind it. And I ended up being kind of excited because it seemed like they had multiplayer. And I was like, oh yeah, like, you know, if they had online multiplayer, I could probably get into it. You had kind of different things you could do. You could fly and, you know, you're moving in this 3D sphere as this mech and you're getting into, you know, melee combat and you have guns and stuff too and special attacks. And, you know, it had a lot of the makings of something that would be really fun, but just playing with bots over and over again just didn't really sit with me well. And I was waiting for online, and it just didn't seem like online ever came. I haven't checked out the game in probably 6 months, so maybe they did, but I did check back a couple times after I first played it and kept waiting for this online multiplayer to come, and it just seemed like it never did. At least not in the States. I don't know. It would be fun with multiplayer. Single player, not so much, and I don't actually think I could recommend this on the back end now. Oni, Road to be the Mightiest Oni was a game I was super excited to be picked as a content creator for. I got this one from the devs, and yeah, I thought it was going to be this really big thing, and I was really excited. It had beautiful graphics, it had a really interesting character, kind of almost felt like an Oni type of game. Ico. Felt kind of like an Ico type of game in the way it's kind of just this esoteric-y, like windy, you know, space, and you're just having to fight these crazy things that you don't really know a whole lot about, these little yokai, but it felt a little samey, and it felt a little rinse and repeat, and the game just didn't really have a strong core to it. After you got over how pretty it was and the interesting initial catch, it just didn't really go anywhere from there, and I thought that was kind of a really big bummer. I'm not recommending it, because I think people have played it and they have liked it. If you kind of like, you know, harder and harder challenges that just keep building and building and building, and you're kind of doing the same thing, but it's more difficult each time, it might be right up your alley. For me, I just kind of lost interest. Void Terrarium 2 was a roguelike game that I played this year. I don't really think that I played the first one. I can't remember if I did or not, but you play as like a little robot, and you're in kind of a destroyed world, and you're going through these different junkyard areas and fighting other robots and stuff, and trying to rebuild this terrarium. You have this little girl, and you try to build her terrarium up to kind of make her healthy again, because I guess she's supposed to bring back life or something like that, if I remember right. And it was interesting. The graphics were beautiful. They had a lot of kind of cool effects and everything too. It ran exceptional on the Switch, and it was something that I really enjoyed a lot. I never did beat it though. It is, you know, very repetitive, and you have to have like quite a bit of time for it. And I just ended up not having the time this year. Alice Escaped, I did beat. This was a fun little like Metroidvania one that I played. People waited for the Switch version of it forever, and it finally did come out. I just got the PC release when it initially released, but this one's kind of like Alice in Wonderland meets chibi waifus, but it's a Metroidvania, and it was a lot of fun. The enemies were a lot of fun. The areas were really cool. It was not really anything I don't think that was super like mind-blowing, but if you do like kind of chibi aesthetics and a real simple but fun Alice in Wonderland based Metroidvania, this one's definitely up your alley. Sengoku Dynasty. This is like kind of a civilization builder game, and that was super unique to me. I don't play them all that much. I have some friends that have played, Medieval Dynasty and stuff like that. Really enjoyed it a lot, but it's not really a type of game that I get into too much. I like survival games and stuff, but I've never done like a bring civilization back kind of a game. This one, you have a repressed people that go on a boat and try to leave their country, crashes in this new land, and you try to, help everybody out and rebuild your little civilization. Had a lot of cool stuff. I actually got super addicted to it and played it almost up to the point that I've seen everything. I've pretty much seen everything in the game. A lot of people say it's riddled by bugs and it doesn't run great on their computers. My computer ran it great, and I didn't really have any problems even streaming it, but that is something to note. If you like kind of feudal Japan simulator games where you're trying to like hunt boar and cultivate land to bring farming back to people and rebuilding villages, building houses, trying to work on your upgrades and everything and become more powerful. There's even like bandits and stuff that you'll go out and fight. It's a pretty cool game. It's, it's got a little bit to work on it before it's kind of like a full release, but it is kind of worth something keeping your eye on at the very least. We Love Katamari Reroll. Dun, 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 dun. Yes, so We Love Katamari Reroll came out, and if you guys know anything about me, I love Katamari. I love it, and I'll buy it forever. I'm one of those terrible people where if anything Katamari video game comes out, I'll just buy it. I'll just buy it flat down. I love rolling and collecting things while rolling, and I love replaying everything over and over again. This one actually felt a lot longer than the last one that they put out, which was really, really cool. I can't remember the original releases of either of them, but the reroll releases were definitely great, and this one felt a lot more robust, a lot longer. I felt like I got my money way more from We Love Katamari, and it's very enjoyable, and it's one of those, Katamari is one of those games I always have installed on my Switch, because it's something that, like, if I'm sitting around, I'm just like, oh yeah, Katamari, because it's awesome. My Hero Ultimate Rumble was kind of a Fortnite style game, if you want to call it like a battle royale with My Hero characters. This one was pretty cool. I played it a little bit when it first came out, and I guess they've had a lot of updates. I don't keep up on it. I'm not like a pro player or anything, but I really enjoyed it. It's also for the Switch, and I'm playing it for the PC, and it's just a lot of fun. It's what you'd expect from this type of game, but with My Hero characters. The one thing that I kind of hated about it was it felt very, very, very grindy to try to unlock like anything. Like I played for a lot of hours and I felt like I got almost nothing from it outside like your initial drops of stuff. And to unlock the characters, it requires rolling and gacha elements and all this other stuff. It's just very frustrating. They give you a number of characters right out the box though, and all of them are a lot of fun to play. And it's just one of those games I think that's pretty interesting. I'm very curious to see what the longevity of it looks like. It seems like the updates that they've rolled out have made people really, really happy, and I do look forward to kind of getting back into the game and seeing what it looks like after all these updates have come out. So if you like My Hero and you like Battle Royale stuff, probably up your alley. Ghost Trick Phantom Detective was another release I have not covered on the page, and I probably won't cover it on the page, to be honest. This game was originally for the DS. I still have my DS copy. I love the game that much. This one has to do with a guy who dies at the very beginning, and as a ghost you find out you can manipulate the world, and you kind of go through a series of these like ghost manipulation puzzles that get harder and more difficult and more complicated, kind of like these Rube Goldberg situations that you set up as a ghost in order to continue the story, make sure people don't die, make sure people get away from stuff, help them out, and you're trying to discover this secret that's going on. I don't want to spoil any of it because it's just very story based, and the story's worth it. A lot of fun, graphics are fun, it's really well written, and if you guys like puzzle stuff, I really can't suggest it enough for anyone. And it runs on the Steam Deck, so that's great. All right, so the other one that I got, I actually originally bought to stream, and it's called Kandagawa Jet Girls. Now, I'm a really big fan of this old game called Jet Moto, which was kind of a racing game for the PlayStation 1, and it was kind of ridiculous, like you're going through like swamps and stuff on these jet skis. And I was really, really excited because this one kind of looked like a wild anime version of that, maybe mixed with a little bit of Hydro Thunder and stuff. And the game really didn't disappoint too much. I did not really enjoy the controls too much, and the game actually seemed like it was quite a bit easier than I was thinking it would be. I'm sure, though, if I played online, it would be the opposite, and it would be way too hard, and I'd just get my butt kicked. I haven't really tried that yet, but this one's really cool. The price on it's pretty high, so I would definitely wait for a sale. I don't think this one's worth its full price tag, especially with the age that it has now, but it's got a lot of really cute, like, waifus, a lot of really interesting different jet skis that you can pick. There's kind of weapons and stuff you can do, and tricks, and all the fun stuff that you'd expect from this type of game. The real big draw to it, though, is it's anime version. It's the anime version of the Jet Moto of the Wave Race 64 world. Game totally not related to anything on the page, but I have to talk about it because I absolutely freaking love this game. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart release, and it was just awesome. It was... Ratchet & Clank's a series that's been around forever, and if you guys know about it, I'm not really going to get into depth because it's just such an old story now, old game series, but God, it was really, really, really good. And the Rift Apart mechanic that they did, where you're just rifting through these worlds, as long as you have a hard drive that's fast enough for it, which I put it on my SSD, it is like, it's so seamless, and it truly felt like a new gen game. Like, I have not played anything that felt so impressively like new to me, and it's so authentically Ratchet & Clank though too. It was, I 100%ed it, I'm not gonna lie. I played it and then I played it again. It is a very, very, very cool game that I cannot recommend enough if you like fun collector games that will just like take a lot of your time up, but you'll love every second of it. It was absolutely fantastic. The big drum roll now. We got to get it going here. This is our final part. We're going to talk about my top 3 favorite games of 2023. I did not pick one because I felt like there was nothing that stood out a ton, and I liked so much. And so I said, you know what? I'm just going to condense this to my top 3 games this year. So the first one, which should be no surprise to anyone, was Master Detective Archives Raincoat. As you guys know, I've taken a break from streaming a couple different times. I'm on one right now, and when I come back, it's usually for a dang good reason, and Master Detective Archives Raincoat was it. I even I made a custom stream layout myself and everything for it because I loved it so much. It really was a lot of what I wanted. I know it was a disappointment to some people because it wasn't Danganronpa, but I didn't expect that. I wanted the feeling of Danganronpa. I wanted to see the artwork and this interesting world and a mystery, and this game it delivered. It delivered, and the story delivers, and it's a lot of fun. The mechanics shake things up. It never feels too boring. It never draws itself out too much. It's a very, very, very good game. It's cheeky. There's a lot of Ichi in it. Shinigami as the main character is incredible. I even have a little figure coming for it. And I already talked about it before, but Master Detective Archives Raincoat, right up there in the top 3. The second one is Star Ocean 2R. This is of no surprise if you listened to me earlier rant about my favorite RPGs, because that was one that I had a hard time like controlling myself from talking about the excitement. It is literally the best remake I have played probably ever. And it's one of my favorite Star Ocean games, maybe even one of my favorite RPGs of all time ever. And it just was really, really exciting. It was really, really well done. And I have spent more hours in it than I probably have spent in any other game ever this year in 2023. And I'm still going to spend more time into it because I need to do everything ever. And the last one is Like a Dragon Gaiden, which I also kind of gushed about when I was talking about RPGs. This one really surprised me. A lot of people, you know, were complaining so much, oh, it's so short, it's so short, it's so short. I didn't even focus on that. And instead, I just played the game and had the time of my life. And I did talk about it earlier, so I'm not going to gush too far into it. But Like a Dragon Gaiden is definitely one of my top 3 favorite games of 2023. So the year is over and 2024 is coming up. What can we expect on the page? Well, as you guys would expect, we are going to continue making anime games, anime news, reviews, and gaming. We are also going to go to SakuraCon, which is an anime convention, and I have some fun stuff planned this year based off of a lot of learning and growing that we've done on the page for recording and saving our data and all sorts of stuff. We are going to try to get a press pass again like we did last year and hopefully get a cool interview out. One thing I haven't really talked about a lot because I haven't completely solidified this yet, but I've been looking a lot into doing proper IRL streaming, and I'm going to test some stuff out when we're at SakuraCon to see if we can have a successful stream at SakuraCon, which we've never been able to do because conventions are very difficult to try to do that at just because of how mobile data connections work. So I'm hoping that I find a solution to that. And that's going to carry on to another thing we're doing much later in the years. We're returning to Japan. And this time we're going to go to Osaka, and it's just going to be me and Bree. So we're going to be 2 adults doing adult things. We got a ton of stuff that's fun and planned. We're going to go to Hiroshima. We're going to go to an onsen town this time, which we didn't get to do last time. We're definitely going this time. And we're going to go, there's a Don Quixote there that has a Ferris wheel that's attached to it. We're going to go check that out, see what that's all about. We're also going to go to Universal Studios, and a big thing about it this year is that Universal Studios is opening a whole new area for Super Mario World, and it is going to be Donkey Kong themed with a Donkey Kong kart, and that is wildly exciting to me. Another thing you're going to expect this year is for me to actually finish and release the Japan videos. So as you guys know, we have not been very good at releasing them. I have a ton of coverage. I have a lot of stuff to talk about, but I've been really sick and it's been really hard for me to try to make content. And I'm starting to get a little bit better now. I'm making some recoveries in a lot of ways. And I think that I'm going to be able to wrap up this video soon and get it out to you. It's going to be a big one. And the next one that we're going to do is going to be covering all of the fun stuff we did, because last time was about the disastrous stuff that happened. So this time we're going to talk about all the cool things we did, and I'm going to show a lot more footage off. And I'm really, really excited to actually have like a positive video about our Japan trip coming out. And we also have some other fun stuff too. There's a video about me going to a Sento for the first time, a Japanese bathhouse. I went to a very old school, very traditional, just old man one. And it was a wild way to start off a Sento. I'll just talk about that, and it's going to be really funny. If you guys don't laugh your asses off, it will shock me. Another thing as far as games go this year that I really want to do, so we played 42 games this year. At least I played 42 personal games. This year, I personally would like to slow things down. I want to start covering more of less games this year just to try to see how that works out. And I think a lot of you guys would like that too. That's not to say that we won't be throwing, you know, these little reviews out for games like we do, but the last 2023, looking back at it, it's been really interesting because it's just been just like one video or one live stream of every single thing. And a big reason for that is I felt like I got really overloaded. I felt like I was requesting too many games. That's what it came down to. I requested too much and I got too much. And there's very few things other than like Eternights that I got more than one video out for. And I want to focus on things a little bit more this year and try to slow things down like that. The other thing too is we have our memberships, and I do appreciate you guys for supporting us at the membership level. I think I'm going to kind of revamp that a little bit. Because one thing I found with us being kind of a smaller page and stuff is I want to try to just offer all of the benefits at the lowest levels. So going forward, if you guys just want to do the lowest level, which is I think $2.99 maybe, then you'll get all the benefits. And I'm just going to do that going forward for this year. It was something I kind of tested out at the end of this year. I wanted for the I want it for the Japan trip for people to be able to, you know, get to experience all of that, even if they couldn't afford more than just that original smaller one. But I'm just gonna keep that. And then if you guys want to do the bigger ones just to give us more support, you know, because you appreciate our content, you're more than welcome to. But again, I don't want to hold people to this big number right now. I really don't. I think it's too much, and I think for right now, it's just I want to try to offer as much to as many people as possible. And I do appreciate you guys as members a ton, especially the higher tiers as well. It is very, very helpful to us and helps us do these different trips and stuff. And, you know, the tips during live streams and stuff too. I don't like to hustle them a lot, but they do help us a ton in just, you know, getting games and getting equipment. We've had to buy a lot of stuff this year. And, you know, I'm fine. I'll foot that. I'm not trying to say I need all this money from people's, but it is appreciated when you guys do help out. And yeah, so that's it. I'm hoping that 2024 is going to be really great. I actually see some really good things. Just kind of some behind the scenes stuff. Our pages, we hit 1,000 subs, so now we just have to hit watch hours, and you know we have quite a bit of watch hours to go. At the time of this recording, we have about 2,800 watch hours out of 4,000 that we need in order to reach the partner program fully. We're in it now, you know, where we can get some stuff, but in order to get ads and stuff, which would really, really help us, we do need to get 4,000 watch hours. So if you guys have any time and you want to just, you know, watch our videos or just kind of maybe keep it in your head that if you just, you know, leave the video on, even if you kind of lose interest in the first half, just let it play out. All that stuff really does help us out, and it's a free way to do it. I feel like I'm getting kind of weird though. Thank you guys. I thank you guys so much. 2023 was great, and I'm very, very happy. This was probably one of my favorite years on YouTube, and I think that things are just going to keep getting better because I'm kind of starting to work my way into getting some of this stuff a little bit better and finding out schedules that like make me happy. And we're doing some stuff that's a little bit funner, and we have some more stuff coming up. Thank you guys so much, and I'll catch you on the next one.